The directive on adequate minimum wages in the EU requires member states with collective bargaining coverage of less than 80% to draw up a national action plan to increase collective bargaining between workers and employers' organizations. It is particularly relevant for the countries of Central and Eastern Europe, where collective bargaining coverage is mostly between 10 and 40%. Slovenia is the only country in the region above the EU average of 60% coverage. Collective bargaining is one of the key factors that make the European social model work. The challenge for Eastern European trade unions in the coming years will therefore be to use the new European directive to catch up with the Western industrial relations systems in this area.
In the CEECAW project, we wanted to see how the directive on adequate minimum wages in the EU has been transposed in Central and Eastern European member states, and in Serbia, which as candidate country should also act in this regard. We focused, of course, on the Article 4 of the directive, which refers to the obligation of the state to promote collective bargaining. It is well known that collective bargaining is underdeveloped in the countries of the region, especially at sectoral level. The problem is not only the reluctance of employers, in particular multinationals. There is also a clear distancing on the part of the ruling political elites from supporting the development of this instrument for regulating labor relations. Their importance is mostly marginalized in public discourse. So, the directive offers trade unions a unique opportunity to change this. But much depends on their ability to use it effectively. Above all, it must be ensured that governments make a real effort to promote collective bargaining in society, not just in slogans. This should be the purpose of national action plans, in the preparation and implementation of which the active involvement of trade unions is simply essential.
From a European perspective, especially when it comes to the implementation of the priorities of Pillar of Social Rights, it is of utmost importance to strengthen national collective bargaining systems and national social partners, also in institutional and organizational terms. This will not only improve working conditions and the quality of policy making at national level, but will also increase the capacity of EU-level organizations, such as the European Federation of Public Service Unions, to represent the interest of their national affiliates at EU level. Strong organization at national level means better representation of worker voices in European processes. EPSU represents public sector workers. It is therefore important for us that the message of the directive is properly understood by public employers at all levels, from central government to local authorities and services of general interest. Effective collective bargaining should be a forward-looking tool for regulating industrial relations across the public sector. In the case of Central and Eastern Europe, there is a lot of catching up to do in this area, and EPSU will actively support its affiliates in their efforts.
Despite the fact that Serbia is a candidate country, we are closely following current developments, including the directive on adequate minimum wages in the European Union, because this EU law will actually apply once we become a full member. This particular regulation is important for Serbia because it means that the government will be obliged to prepare and implement the action plan to increase collective bargaining coverage. Trade unions in Serbia should consistently raise awareness in society about the existence of this directive and the need of its swift implementation, as the EU legislation can undoubtedly have a positive impact on the recognition of their role as an important institutional dialogue partner on issues that are important to workers, which is a common practice in EU countries.
For the conclusions of the analysis on the revitalization of collective bargaining in the EU, with a special focus on the countries of Central and Eastern Europe, see our comparative report from the CEECAW project.